Hi guys, I'm going to be showing you how you are going to create a 3D printed element for your mini golf course. Everyone's mini golf course is going to be required to have one element that has been 3D designed by each member of your group. So if you have two team members, both of you will design your own 3D printed item that you will put on your golf course. So if you have two team members, you will have two 3D printed items. If you have three team members, you will have three 3D printed items. I'm going to show you how to get started. First, in your URL bar, you are going to type in tinkercad.com. Do not type in just Tinkercad. Do not Google it. Those will all be blocked by GoGuardian. You will come up here and you will type in tinkercad.com and hit enter. Next, you're going to sign in. So you'll need to click login. A lot of you will probably already be logged in. You'll already have what you need. If not, you can click on personal account and sign in with Google. And this is going to take you to your landing page. From here, there are many ways to start designing. I am just going to click on this create button in the right hand side, and I'm going to click 3D design. This is going to open up a work plane. There are two things that I need to do to get started. First of all, up here in the top left hand corner, I need to change the name from Powerful Kirkin Lulia to your name. So whatever your name is, I'm going to put Mrs. Lamb, and I'm going to put mini golf item. And then the next thing I'm going to do, one of the requirements for your 3D printed item is that it has to be smaller than 4 cubic inches. So it cannot be any wider than 4 inches, it cannot be any longer than 4 inches, and it cannot be any taller than 4 inches. So it can't be any bigger than 4 inches in any direction. Right now my work plane is set up in millimeters. You can see how tiny these little squares are. I'm going to change this to inches, and I'm going to make my work plane 4 inches wide and 4 inches long. So I'm going to click on settings, and the settings is down here in the bottom right. Click settings, and then the first thing I'm going to do is where it says units, I'm going to change it from millimeters to inches. And then right here where it says presets, just so that you guys know in the future, we have this Dremel 3D40 3D printer, so you could select that and it's going to make your work plane the exact dimensions of our printable surface. But at this time, I'm going to just do my height and width requirements, or width and length requirements for this project. So I'm going to change this to 4 inches in width and this to 4 inches in length. And then I'm going to click close settings and watch what happens to my work plane. So as you can see now, each of these big squares that are outlined in the dark blue, each of these squares is 1 inch. So 1, 2, 3, 4 inches wide, 1, 2, 3, 4 inches long. The only thing you'll have to be really cautious of is ensuring that you don't get any taller than 4 inches as well. So now, guys, I want to show you something that's really important when you are designing something that's going to actually be 3D printed. Okay, so let's pretend that I'm going to make a snowman. So I'm going to drag this item onto the work plane, and let's pretend that this is the bottom. You can see that this sphere is going to be 1 inch wide on all, 1 inch long and 1 inch wide. and I would venture to say it's probably it's 1 inch tall. Okay. And let's say that I'm going to put his tummy on, and I'm going to make this smaller. I'll make this like 3/4 of an inch. You can see that I type in 0.75, and it's actually changing it to 3/4 of an inch in all dimensions. Now, this is probably not the most proportional choice, but we're going to roll with it. Okay. And then I could also stack his head on there. I'm not going to do that right now, though. So as I'm looking at this design, I can see that it's not centered. And it's really not going to be centered because I didn't choose a great size. But this would still 3D print. It would still 3D print just fine. It's not going to look great. It's ugly, but it would 3D print. However, if this were over here, like this, okay, 3D printers are super cool, but they cannot defy the laws of physics. This would be asking the 3D printer to just print into thin air, and that will not work. That's just going to turn into a big sloppy mess. So this is an example of something that I would not be able to 3D print for you. So make sure that your items are all touching, nothing is floating in midair, so that we can 3D print it. The next thing I want you to think about is, let's say that I chose something like this soccer ball, okay? Lots of really cool colors here, the black and white, and this would look really amazing. However, the 3D printer model that we have, it will only print in one solid color. So this would not be an option. So I could print this soccer ball in all white, and then you could take and color in these parts here with like a Sharpie to make it the colors that you want, or even the basketball. You could color in the lines of the basketball with a Sharpie, and just 3D print it in orange. But just know that you can only print in one solid color. So please don't make a really complicated design like this snowman here. Well, I just attached him, but that's okay. But please don't make like the snowman and hope that I can 3D print all of these colors, because that is just not something that we have the capability of doing. So once we get our design, I want to show you guys how to go ahead and turn this in. So say I designed this piano here. Wow, that's a really big piano. Nope. Say we designed the football helmet. Okay. It looks, let's see how tall this thing is. Let me zoom out. So it is it's like almost 3 inches long, almost 3 inches long, almost 4 inches wide, and almost 3 inches tall. So he would be fine. He would be within the dimensions. Make sure that he's fully in the plane and touching the plane. He would be just fine. So let's say that I want to 3D print this football helmet for my mini golf course. You're going to be required to turn in 2 things. Number 1, I want to see a screenshot of what you designed. So screenshot, just like you always would, you would hit Control-Shift, show windows, and then you could just drag to capture your helmet. There's your screenshot. Alternatively, you could hit Send To and hit this download button, and it's going to download the image, and it will be named whatever you have your item named. And then, so that's your image. It's your PNG. I need a PNG, and then the second thing I need is your STL file. So that is going to be the file that I actually put into a splicer, which is just a software that's going to cut it into a bunch of layers so that the 3D printer knows how to print it. So I'm going to hit export. Up here in the top right hand corner, I'm going to hit export, and then where it says for 3D print, I'm going to click .stl. It says preparing model for export, and then you're going to see down here that it has downloaded Mrs. Lamb mini golf item.stl. So what you're going to need to do is upload those two most recent files. So it's going to be your Mrs. Lamb mini golf item.stl. This will have your name, like Jackson mini golf item.stl, Jackson mini golf item.png. So you'll upload both of those into the assignment. The assignment is right over here in Google Classroom. It's going to say Thursday 3D printed element. Yours is going to look different on the student side, but you would hit that add or create, upload, browse, and then you'll add those two files. I think I've included everything. Make sure it does not exceed the 4 cubic inches, and turn in your screenshot and your .stl file. Make sure that you talk with your team member, collaborate, and find out how you can maximize and print something that's going to be good for your course. Have fun. Good luck.